he's got goals.
13.
Against the clock, it really didn't matter. Mickey,
No scriptwriter could have ever written a better story.
CSIO St. Gallen, Switzerland's show jumping highlight. The Nations Cup, world-class competition and an atmosphere second to none. In-Out Show brings you the top classes and all the action, live on clipmyhorse.tv.
Well, hello there, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be watching from around the world to this edition of the Clip My Horse TV In and Out studio. Amy Parks here with you, and what a pleasure it is to be here with you on this Sunday afternoon from the CSIO St. Gallen as we bring you the Longines Grand Prix of Switzerland. Plenty to dig into ahead of the live sport today. We'll be bringing you all of the action, of course, arena side, as well as all of the analysis. And to bring that to you, my colleague and partner in crime this week is Sam Watson from Equestrian.
Joining us is Sam Watson, Olympic eventer, World Equestrian Games medalist, and co-founder of EquiRatings. With decades of experience at the top of the sport and a passion for data-driven insight, Sam brings a unique blend of riding expertise and sharp analytics to the In-Out studio.
Sam Watson, the sizzle reel. You love that, don't you?
Experience is the thing that stood out to me this morning. So
Stinted you.
A reminder, but looking forward to this.
Dig into which we're going to. We want to talk about this this class, but also this venue. Incredibly special, steeped in history, as we know. Let's talk about this event. Started in 9 prestigious Nations Cup of Switzerland, which we saw play out a little earlier in the week. This stadium, of course, has the capacity of 4,500. It is part of a larger conglomerate of sporting arenas there in the northeast of Switzerland, and a fantastic venue it is. It's situated approximately 1 hour from Zurich. So that's where we are in the world today. We talk about an incredible venue. We can actually have a look at it from the air a bit. Maybe we aren't. We're not going to do that. Oh, yes, we are. Forgive me. I'm 10 steps ahead of myself. Such is my excitement. I'm bubbling over. See the show jumps in the middle, Sam, and you can see there all of those other sporting facilities dotted around there, meaning it's a mecca for sport in the northeast of Switzerland.
It is, and it's tradition, and it really does mean something. It takes decades to build these shows up and to get the families and the generations going back year after year. This venue has had more than decades. It's had near 12 decades, 120 years, knocking on that. And we'll see means to the athletes as well. You know, we'll dig into the numbers and we'll look at venue form and course form, really, really relevant for today's Grand Prix. But actually, the history and the tradition and that venue and what it means to the sport
is Frankie Reid-Warrilow. She
and it very much feels like a summer show at the moment, but let me tell you, hasn't been like that all week. I think unfortunately when I arrived I might have brought the Welsh weather with me, and there was quite a lot of rain earlier on in the week, but you can't tell at all, which is thanks to the organising committee. They've spent a lot of time and infrastructure and money to redo the surface in that main arena. You know, digging it up, putting in drains and stone and sand and mixing it in to put a really nice turf on the top. That sounds quite basic. There's a lot more science behind it. But it does mean that the horse and riders have the absolute perfect footing to be able to compete today. Not just today in the 5-star Grand Prix, but throughout the week there's been loads of classes here, young horse classes, also lots of displays, but more to the point today, the atmosphere is definitely building. The crowds are getting really, really excited. They're quite a knowledgeable crowd here, and they definitely know what is in store for them. In just under an hour's time before the Grand Prix begins, I must say that the riders don't seem quite as excited. Today there's a bit of a different feel from them. steadily with that focus, and they've been waiting to get in the arena to walk the course that the course designer has built, and it's looking massive. I'm actually going to try and have a quick run around it to get a feel of it, so that when you come back to me later I have a little bit more of an insight. But definitely the atmosphere building, crowds coming in, and there's barely going to be a spare seat in the house, I think.
Yeah, super. That's really, really interesting what Frankie says there. The energy around the riders today very different, Sam, to what we saw yesterday with that speed class.
Yeah, look, it's a big weekend and it's a big year with the World Championships, and I think that one of the big talking points as well is the grass arena that we're going to have in Aachen. We saw Aachen a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to see it again, obviously, in a couple of months for the World Championships. And this is a big dress rehearsal, and there are a couple of big nations that will be hoping to win medals at the World Championships, and then big riders and combinations wanting to get into those teams that I think are here staking their claim with their federation. So I know what that feels like. It's nerve-wracking.
Behind me, the St Gallen Showground has a real amphitheatre feeling about it. But right next door is the famous football stadium. And there's a really rich football culture, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. As a city in the north of Switzerland, it is also famous for the business school, one of the leading universities in Europe. There is more than just food stalls. There's even facilities here have been designed very much with the horses in mind. 2 covered warm-up arenas, keeping horse and riders dry and cool, dependent on the weather, and then a short ride across the road towards the main arena. Organisers have been reinvesting in this venue, and they continue to develop it in order to grow its already elite 5-star status. This attention to detail is what continues to attract the best horse and riders from all across the world. Over the last 2 years, no expense has been spared to make sure that the footing in this arena is durable for the 5-day show, ensuring that every single horse has the best possible takeoff spot. This impressive 5-star show is Switzerland's leading show jumping tournament. It has everything from the young horse classes. On the Friday is the Nations Cup, and then all of it culminates on the Sunday for the Longines 5-star Grand Prix. Here not only puts your name in the history books, but tells the world that you mean business.
It certainly does, and that is about to unfold this afternoon, and we're going to talk all about it and see it before our very eyes. But before we do that, we want to throw back a little bit earlier in the week, because we've had a couple of big classes, namely all of that sport taking place on the Friday. These nations to really start to prove themselves, get these runs up on the board, and the riders to prove themselves as riding for their country, etc., ahead of a very exciting year. We have a World Championships coming up in August, of course. That Nations Cup, we had the Swiss team take victory. Incredibly emotional, really. The scenes in the stadium were incredible. It meant a lot to the riders. It meant a lot to the crowd for them to have a home win, didn't it?
Yeah, it was huge, and some big performances. Martin Fuchs in particular is a man I have to single out. You see him on the left of your shot there now, but what a role he's played for the Swiss team. That's actually only his 9th Nations Cup win for the representing his country. But 3 of them have now come in this arena. But what's incredible is his form in this arena. That was his 9th Nations Cup in St Gallen. He has never missed the podium. Jason Smith played a huge role. We'll see him. He's just beside Steve Gerdat there. No, he's not. He's beside his manager in the middle of that shot. His first win in the red jacket. But he's got an incredible record. He's now jumped 12 rounds for the Swiss and 6 clears as well. So he's doing a great job for the team. He's the only double clear for the winning team, one of only 2 clears in the entire competition. It was very, very tough jumping. This man, Steve Gerdat, he is Mr. Nations Cup. He's jumped 59 clears in Nations Cups over the last 16 seasons. Only the 11th win. You know, over 16 years, he's had 32 podiums. It's an average about 2 a year. Only his 11th win. And I mean, you say only, to win 11 Nations Cups is a huge number. But, you know, the level that we hold Steve Gerdat in, it feels like he's doing things like that. Not week in, week out, but it's almost monthly or something. But the fact that it's actually only 11 wins in 16 seasons, I think that's what it means. And you saw the emotion on his face. It meant a lot.
Yeah, and the scenes there with his little girl as well. He sort of goes, come on, you're coming in with Dad to the prize giving, whether you like it or not. That was absolutely lovely to see, and really lovely to see them all so joyous and really celebrating there. Of course, we talk a lot about Steve Gerdat. We're going to hear from him a little bit more later on, but first of all, we want to have a look at how his round unfolded yesterday in the dying moments of that Friday in the Nations Cup.
So now this is the round that could decide the result. Alba-Furen's Lashon Sita and Switzerland's Steve Gerdat. Steve is clear, Switzerland are the winners. All the pressure, all the emotions over on the kiss and cry. Watching the man with ice in his veins here, Steve Gerdat. Well, we might be on a better one, because I think when he had 4 faults in round 1, it was fence 1. So nothing is assured in Nations Cup jumping. Indeed, most riders will tell you that coming back and jumping the same Grand Prix level meter 60 course a second time is one of the toughest jobs in the sport of show jumping. Still good, but still plenty of questions that need to be answered correctly before the end of this course. Everyone in the place lifted him over those 2 Range Rover fences. Last to go, it's clear, and it is victory. Steve Gerdat is clear, and it is victory for Switzerland. They retake their home Nations Cup. It is a question now of who else will be on the podium.
Super stuff there. We were writing that again. I mean, it's like the 3rd or 4th time we've watched it, but we're still every moment with your, I guess, your heart in your mouth, you could say. Incredible scenes there for Switzerland. Great victory at home, so you couldn't have written it better. The class yesterday that we spoke about, Sam, moving on to Saturday's class, a speed and handiness class, 150 class. The winner, Aaron Vale, I think he almost surprised himself with that one, but he was in the Equa ratings numbers in the build-up yesterday. Yeah,
he was in our top 5. What was interesting about yesterday's prediction centre, anyone who tuned in, was we had a 32% favourite. Today, spoiler alert, we've got an 8% favourite, well, joint favourites. It was very different. It was Ben Mayer yesterday who had this. He was a clear favourite. He showed us why. He produced the fastest round, and he had a rail that will surprise and probably annoy himself at fence 2, triple bar, back rail. He'll have been got to do that, but he still went on and showed his pace. That was Ben. But what Aaron did, the lines he rode, it was the standout of yesterday's class. It was great fun. You need to go back and watch it. It was a 90-second course, not quite a 90-minute course, but 90 seconds. Normally those single speed rounds are about a minute. This was a minute and a half. It was longer. They had to use everything: turns, lines, angles. There was a dry ditch in there. It had a little bit of a derby feel to it. Aaron was outstanding. He was taking strides out where he needed to. He was turning tight where he could, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a super class to watch, and we want to show you just the highlight now, of course, that winning round from Aaron Vale.
Welcome back to St Gallen, where we're just about to get back underway with our Table C Speed and Handiness presented by the City and Canton of St Gallen, and it's Aaron Vale and Gray's Inn here. And our leader, Robin Lescaron Galax de Rouet on 91.41. Going to be very interesting to see whether that persists now through this round of jumping, because Aaron Vale could really light this up. He could grab this by the tail and give it a twist, because he is a master against the clock. Actually, if you go back and look at his jump-off victory in Dinar last year, it was about just having incredible confidence in his ability and his horse's trust in him to go fast that delivered that Grand Prix title on grass as well. So interestingly, not going to the left hand of those two oxes in the colours of Longines, where a lot of people have been doing. That's felt like the quicker way. Jump in the dry ditch there at the top of the ring before swinging back. And he's tighter in here than a lot of other people have been back to the hedge. And jumps out over the castle, 3.2 seconds up. See, he's nearly built up the advantage he would need if he had a rail, but he doesn't want a rail. Gray's Inn, ridden for a long time and very successfully by his wife Mallory, but as he's got more and more into the US teams in these selections, it's been a great horse for him at these shows. He is one of the 10 on the long list, the short list for the US this year for the World Championships. Nations Cup rider yesterday as well. Look at this time, exactly as we expected, 88.91 from Aaron Vale and Gray's Inn to take up the lead here on the zero score. That is our fastest outright time as well, with Jack Whittaker having previously been our fastest across the ground in 89.52. Now there is a lot for everyone else to do. Aaron Vale and Gray's Inn really light up this class straight away after the break here in St Gallen.
Super stuff there from Aaron Vale, of course, aboard his lovely wife's horse in Gray's Inn. We want to go back down to the arena side and to Frankie, who is in St Gallen. We talked earlier about the victorious Swiss team in that Nations Cup competition, and who better to chat to and to bring us up to date than the Swiss chef de keep. She's with Peter van der Weij.
Peter, thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, we can't do this interview without talking about the amazing performance from the Swiss team on Friday in the Nations Cup. Dare I ask, did it go to plan?
Yeah, well, the result went to plan, so we were delighted with the victory here in front of the home crowd, and yeah, we were very, very happy, all of us. And we had some great rounds, some great results of the riders, and some horses that pulled off some great performances, and then of course the victory makes it all the cherry on the cake.
Of course it does. And actually, I was looking at the results. Am I right in saying only 2 combinations went double clear throughout the whole class?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, only 2 double clears, so that means it was really a tough track. It was a tough track, challenging for everyone. Faults were a little bit all over the place, but especially the last line was very demanding. And the time allowed was also quite tight, so there were a few that finished without penalties or without faults, but with time penalties. But we had one rider, Jason Smith with Picobello, who was one of the only 2 double clears. Yeah,
pretty incredible, really. And I have heard rumours that the party on Friday night was quite exceptional.
I think it was, but I must say we stayed a little bit quiet here. We had a meeting or an event with a lot of owners and other supporters of the Swiss sport, so that's where we stayed. And then I think some might have gone over to the party afterwards.
What does it have a different feel about it? I mean, it has to have a different feel winning at home in front of the home crowd. The atmosphere here on Friday night was sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think a home win is the best win, of course. It's always fantastic to win a Nations Cup, but here in front of the home crowd, they've been very lucky in the last couple of years. In the last 4 editions, they won 3, but before that, they had to wait 19 years for a victory. So.
It's huge. So moving on to today, it's the big class of the whole week, really, isn't it? And the crowds are definitely coming in. And I just said to you, I can't believe that the public are walking the course. I mean, you can barely see a piece of grass in there, but the course, it's a big Grand Prix, isn't it? How do you think the Swiss riders are going to fare today in this class?
Yeah, it's a big test. It's very interesting for me to watch as a chef d'équipe, so I can really see where we stand at the moment with our riders, with our horses. It's a tough track, but yeah, wonderful weather conditions, and I hope the crowd can help us out a little bit as well.
Will the horses being ridden today be the different horses from the Nations Cup on Friday?
So in our case, we have 2 of the horses jumping on Friday, jumping again today. I don't know exactly what the other teams will do, but some will jump both indeed, and some will have other horses to jump now.
And we were talking a little minute ago about the running order and how sometimes being towards the end of the class can be a bit of a benefit. But you were explaining to me that in this format, that's not certainly the case.
No, it doesn't have to be the case. So it's a winning round format. The best 25% will go into the second round, and all the clears will go in any case. So only if you, let's say, would have a fence down and you are on the end of the start list, you might know what the time is that you should aim at to get into the second round. But in the second round, it will go by reverse order of the results of the first round. So normally in a normal Grand Prix, if you're last to go in the first round, you can be last to go in the jump off. Now today, it might all go in different directions anyway.
Crikey! So are there different tactics at play here from the riders?
I think everyone first concentrates on the first round. They really want to deliver a clear, and it's good that the clear gets you in the second round for sure. But I think there's going to be some that might have a fence down that they're going to then adjust their tactic a little bit, yeah. And
then the second round, is that more about speed?
Yeah, the second round is actually judged by faults and by speed. So the time of the second round is going to be the deciding factor today.
Okay, and as I said, the crowds are quite intense today, aren't they? And the atmosphere is amazing. The weather actually seems to be playing a little bit more on our side. Yesterday was really hot, wasn't it? But we're really excited to see how the Grand Prix unfolds. 50 riders, I think, starting today, so it's going to be a long afternoon, but pretty intense sport.
Yeah, I think so too, and we really hope that our Swiss girls and guys are going to do a good job, and they're going to make the crowd happy again, like they did on Friday. Do
you reckon you can bring home another Swiss victory today?
I think it's possible, yeah. We have a good group of riders and horses here, but the other ones are tough as well, so we're going to give our best.
Well, best of luck, Peter. Thank you so much, and we'll come back to the action when it starts.
Thank you.
Thank you to Frankie and, of course, to Peter. Great insight there, explaining how this works today, because that is what we are getting into now, Sam. We want to talk about this class, this Grand Prix. First of all, let's kick it off with 4 fast facts. The guys there did a really, really good job of explaining how this format will unfold. It's a little bit different. It's unique in a way. So let's look at 4 facts then about this. It's technically called a Table A in 2 rounds. The top 25%, as Peter explained there, in round 1 go through to round 2. And today, because we have about 50 riders and horses on this list, that will mean there's about 13. More than 25%, so more than 13 clear in round 1. Well, all of those clears then go through to round 2. And the maximum height today is 1.60 metre. Now, that is full up. That is the top level of show jumping. It doesn't get bigger or badder than that. So a real challenge on the cards for all combinations coming forward today. So, Sam, when we get stuck into this, it's probably good to set it up about how you win this class, because I think Peter explained it a little bit there, but we can dig into it.
Yeah, we've seen some very different ways of winning this. I mean, last year we actually saw 16 people going through to round 2 because there were 16 clears, so it broke that 25% rule because there were so many. Year before was completely different. It was that washout year from 2024. The whole program sort of got thrown out a little bit, and they actually did change the format and turn it into just a single jump off round. But Martin Fuchs was the only clear here in round 1 this time. 2 clears in round 1, and that again is where this format kicks in, because Steve Gerdat was the winner on that occasion, but he had 4 faults in round 1. And 25% of the class will come back in round 2. So if there is a low number of clears, some of those fast 4-faulters will come back. And it's not impossible, because it happened in 2019 with this very same horse and rider combination that we're going to see again this year, Steve Gerdat and Bernard de Cerisi, that if the two that jump clear in round 1 have a rail down, and then people are jumping, the 4-faulters are jumping clear, it's the round 2 time that will win this. We think there'll be around 9, that's sort of your standard, but the course designer is going to have a big impact on that. Conditions can have a big impact on that. We saw only 2 double clears in the Nations Cup, so course designer feeling pretty punchy this week, I would say. Advantage to the people that have that clear from round 1, but we could also see somebody nicking it in the second round as well by keeping all the rails up.
Yeah, adding that intensity to round 2, of course. So we've talked about how many we think will be clear. We probably need to talk about the chances then. According to Equiratings, let's have a look at those clear chance stats. Wonderful time on Friday in the prize giving. He was really enjoying himself there, Marty Fuchs, wasn't he?
He was indeed, and with Lord, it's an interesting profile. It's probably a new name for a few people. He's actually only jumped 5 clears at this level, but it comes from 15 rounds. It's a nice strike rate of 33%, but he's on the up. This horse is improving and was part of that winning team. 8 and clear he was in the Nations Cup, so adding another clear to his CV actually on Friday. Coolio and Marcus Enning, a wealth of experience, but not quite as much as Bernard de Cerisi and Steve Gerdat, that combination. And we'll get through them in a little bit of detail. And to see the sort of range and profile, Maddox that you see there for Ben Mayer has not yet jumped to clear at this top level, but it's just a 9-year-old, has only had 2 attempts at 160, so that's a really inexperienced combination coming through. High up on the clear chances and on the ratings, because has been doing some nice things as an 8-year-old class, yet to win an international. I doubt today is the day, but it's a very open competition. And Katie Dinan out of the blue as well. We'll probably talk about her in a little bit more detail, but she has been doing something really cool, because jumped double clear on the very last day of the World Cup finals this year, and was the only combination to do it last year as well in Basel. So likes to come to Switzerland, likes to throw down a double clear. If they do that today, they will be they'll be real contenders as well. But Katie Dinan would be, if the US are going to have another good day and top the podium again like they did yesterday with Aaron. Aaron will be hoping it's him with Carissimo. He jumped to clear in the Nations Cup, but Katie is certainly one to watch today as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we talked a little bit about previous winners. Obviously, we've talked about Steve. We've talked about a couple of those names, Marty Fuchs. Let's have a live, but there are some of the names coming after as well.
Yeah, and look, it's an interesting dynamic, this competition. You saw on that first slide of ours, you know, if there are a lot of clears, it's advantage to someone like a Scott Brash, like a Martin Fuchs, like maybe a Steve Gerdat as well, the ones that we know are absolute speed merchants, because it was going to feel more like a traditional jump-off Grand Prix then, and it's going to come down to speed. But in those years where there's fewer clears in round 1 and you've got to back it up again in round 2, then I think it can be advantage to the riders maybe not always featuring in those daredevil jump-offs with huge speed, but just able to be really consistent. And there's a few of those, like back in 2019 winning this with Bernard de Cerisi. How amazing for that crowd. If you were there in 2019, it feels like yesterday to an aging analyst like me, but it is 7 years ago. And to come back with the same horse and rider and go back into that ring, again, home combination, huge favourite. They've got a huge chance today as well. They really do set the standard in terms of quality, but to have a past winner like that returning 7 years later is pretty special.
We talked about the emphasis on Swiss riders today. There's a lot of good forward momentum for them and how much success they've had in the past here. How much is that home ground advantage having then, do you think, for those Swiss riders?
Yeah, I think knowing the venue is important, and there's actually quite a lot of quite well. I do and know it. I think you can actually you can help them a bit, and particularly it's I mean, I've been looking at some of the form lines here, and I'll be diving into them, but you've got horses coming here with form from Miami Beach, you know, one of the tightest sand arenas, and then you go into these big expansive grass arenas as well. So I think knowing your venue, knowing your arena, just knowing the setup as well, what the horse, and then they're going out on grass into a huge open arena. So it's very different, and I think just the riders knowing that experience and being able to prepare their horses for it does count.
How that unfolded.
Big jump off, big second round with so many in it, 15 in it. Of course, they've tried to have been quicker, but they haven't been clear. There are 2 to go. What about these two? Penultimate partnership. Is it to be their day? Scott Brash, Ella Jefferson. .46.22 is the time to beat. Didn't jump Jefferson in the team, saved him for today. Moves Jefferson up. Now where's the split? He's got half a second, but that can so easily run away. Down to the double. That's the double. The man that leads one stride. Scott takes the sensible 2. Now he runs to the line. 46.22. Is it to be for Great Britain today? 46.12. Scott Brash leads the way here in St Gallen. He's taken 1/10 of a second, and the British star has moved to the top of the leaderboard. With 1 left to go, is the brilliance of Brash to come out on top in St Gallen. Hello Jefferson, Scott Brash at their best.
Big Jeff. Big Jeff laying it down there. He's not here this year though. Plenty of others though, Sam. And then a lot of Swiss.
And it does show you that winning time, 40. It's not kind of jump-offs typically, so anyone how to do it, then Scotty B. He's been the world #1 already this year. He's actually been dethroned for 2nd place as well. Favourites this year as well. And
Yeah, but we're just really seeing some stars here today. It's so lovely to see the Swiss team shining. There's one particular one in the ones on form who we're going to talk about. It's an absolute favourite of mine, and she's right at the top of this graphic here, Sam. Jannica Sprunger. What a horsewoman, and really, really outstanding clear rate there, 57% with Aurelie.
yeah, they are on form, and it's Team Nations Cup wins. Twice they've been part of the Swiss team in both Falsterbo and Brussels, where they've won a Nations Cup. They were 4th here back in 2023. They've been 2nd in Basel in a World Cup, and they've been 2nd out in Mexico as well. I think the interesting thing with them, I think how they're going to want it is they're going to want tough jumping today, not just because they've got probably the best form with regard. Think that they don't have that individual Grand Prix win as a combination. Obviously the home crowd would love that to happen today, but that a little bit points to the speed aspect of what it would take. So if it was, she's not going to want a Scott Brash-esque speed round like we saw from last year in terms of round 2. She's going to want 2 solid rounds of jumping to bring it home, and that's what she could prepare. Jack Whitaker, 2nd there. That's a horse that we're not going to see in any of our graphics coming later, not on our win chances. It's just a less experienced horse, but I really like this horse. 2nd in Rome quite recently. A winner out in Rome in a 155, second out in Miami in a GCT. So has jumped some clear rounds, as you can see, 3 from 6. Those are actually not just 12 months. That's actually career for Izara De Dame and Jack Whitaker. That is one I'll absolutely have my eyes on, because I think for that British team as well, there's plenty of them here. This really does feel like a dress rehearsal for them as well, in terms of we know, Ben's got a new horse at this level. Scott's not here. Harry is here. But again, bringing through the next string. But it's always with Team GB, it's that 4th place, 5th place ahead of a World Championships and Jack.
I think when we talk about sort of the ones on form, we also have to talk about the clear standout favourite. And I mean, this is a name that probably most people who with an interest in the sport of show jumping would be familiar with. Marcus Enning, they're coming in as our favourite then. If we take a look there, Coolio 42. I mean, that's in anyone's book a great number of 5-star Grand Prix World Cup podium finishes together. It's 5.
Yeah, and like where he's getting to in his career and things like that, it's been a while since we've seen them to have an individual win. You have to go back to Madrid in 2023 to see them win a Grand Prix together, or a World Cup on that occasion together, nearly 3 years ago. But they had a big team win here 12 months ago. So in this arena, Marcus and Coolio jumped a double clear 12 months ago. I think that is very, very relevant information and relevant form, because he knows the venue, and he's clearly, when a rider has success at a venue, and in that case winning part of the team but jumping a double clear, I do think they want to come back and target that venue again. And a really nice warm-up as well for me and Marcus. They were 1 down in your jumping a Grand Prix of this level. So I think that they are genuine ones to watch. And speed in the second round, I think they can deliver that. If it's a tough jumping, I think they can deliver that. So a real sort of complete package.
Let's take a quick look then. At how we set up the favourite versus the one on form. And it is that lady again we mentioned there, Janneke Sprunger, who is at the top of the table when it comes to bringing the form, versus Marcus Enning then. Stars in the sport versus a similarity and parity there.
Question mark for some of the less experienced grip. So these horses have got much more experience, have jumped outdoors plenty. Their clear rates both around 40%. If we're expecting around 9 clears today out of a class of 50, quick maths, that's an 18% clear rate. These guys are operating above twice that, and those are career stats as well at 160. So these are not just average 160, these are exceptional 160 horses and good rates. I think the wins are what is a little bit on the low side. The 2 for Aurélie and Janneke coming in as part of a team. Same for Coolio, 2 of those coming as part of a team, only 1 individually. So between the 2 of them, only 1 individual win, and that is why when we get to the win chances later on, and I know we say it in show jumping all the time that it is wide open, but you can pick different strengths and then of course different weaknesses and different question marks over all these combinations. Those 2 for me are rock solid, and I think it would be great to see them both going into Sunday morning wherever.
It's the G-Meister, the big G. He's a 4-time 5-star Grand Prix winner with this horse, as we know. He calls this sort of his long-time partner, and that includes a weir here in St Gallen and the Spruce Meadows Masters as well, this combination. So they are an incredible combination, and Steve is a superstar. He is a crowd favourite. He's at home. He's on home turf this week. They've had an amazing victory in the Nations Cup, the Swiss team, on Friday. Can he do it today in the Grand Prix? Well, he's our rider in focus this week, and Frankie caught up with him.
Hi, I'm Steve Gerda and we are here at beautiful St Gallen. It's like everybody knows each other a little bit, and yeah, their faces, well-known faces that we know all around the arena, and they only get to see this kind of even once a year. We are obviously week in and out in this kind of shows, but they get to see it once a year. It's a time they wait for, and when St Gallen shows up, we excited. I have a young horse, very promising, 8 years old, called Crystal. She's still a bit green, but she's a mare that I have some hope for in the future to perform. Then I brought my speed class specialist, Easy Star, who's been very successful in a lot of those kind of classes, like derby style, like we're gonna have this Saturday afternoon. And then I brought two of my main horses, Alpfurenz Yashin, who jumped the Nations Cup, and Venard, my old friend for the Sunday Grand Prix. If you ask parents which kid they prefer, it's about the same with horses, and we maybe have different kind of relationship with each and you know, we need more than one horses, obviously, if we want to be on top of the sport. I just like to spend time with my horses, and I have a feeling that sometimes they understand, sometimes it takes a bit more time, sometimes a bit less, and it's kind of a communication that I try to build on every day and every minute I spend with all of my horses. Luck is part of everything that you know, happens in life. So you have to look for it, you have to provocate it a little bit. It also doesn't just come on you, but yeah, you don't win because you're lucky, but you definitely don't win without a little bit of luck. You know, I really like what I do. I really enjoy. I don't see myself as extra talented or something, but very passionate. I love spending a lot of time in training and time with the horses, so that probably helped me along the year. And yeah, I don't like to do twice the same mistake and still feel, even to like yesterday in the Nations Cup, how can it happen with my age to have a time fault? You know, this should not happen. So yeah, I definitely don't look much back in what I achieved, but still feel like I would like to be so much better in what I do and in riding. So that also keeps me motivated and try to get better every day that I start riding. I know that if I ride good and we're a little bit lucky tomorrow, we can have a good chance to be clear, and it's very fast in the jump off. We have a lot of experience together, so I'm definitely going to try to win. But I try to win most of the time, and it doesn't happen often. So yeah, but I'll try.
Sometimes I wonder if Steve Gerdet's met Steve Gerdet, like if he realises just how good he is. He's so humble. He's absolutely the Roger Federer of equestrian sport. Incredible to hear from him. And that line, you can provoke the luck. You do need a little bit of luck, but you need to provoke it, which I think is something we can all take something from that, don't you think, Sam?
Yeah, he is a professor. I mean, I love the way he talks about his old friend and Bernard de Cerissi and the communication. Like, that's what he's working on, and I think that applies to so many things. But like his countryman Roger Federer, who talks a lot about, you know, losing as many points as they win, and that ability to take that. You can see the impact of it on someone who's been in the sport so much. Like it's not that he seems anywhere that his confidence isn't there.
With someone who's going to take on this course today, she's chatting with David Simpson.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have David here. Thank you so much for joining us. It can't be easy. We were just saying you've got a little bit of a wait till you go later on this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm 44th to go, so I have a bit of time to kill, but to be honest, it's a very tough track, and there's a good few options out there, so today is the day you want to be late and really understand how it rides.
Do you mind if we have a little talk through the course?
Yeah, no, of course.
So I had a quick run round, and I'm still mesmerised by the size of these fences, because they are absolutely top-notch, aren't they? I mean, he couldn't build it much bigger today.
Yeah, no, it's very, very big today, and it's technical, but with the standard of a field he has, you know, he has to ask those questions, so it's going to be good.
So early on in the course, you've got your first sort of related distance, fence 3 to 4, a triple bar to an upright. I swear that's the course designer's favourite trick, isn't it? What kind of distance do you think you're going to get down there?
It's a really following 6 strides from the triple bar, which won't suit my guy, especially heading towards the pocket. So I'm going to try and really use the triple bar to my advantage and try and get it that I can slow down the end of the 6. In an ideal world, you would like to do 7, and maybe we'll see what the time allowed, but I think it's 6.
Yeah, because I think I said to you I walked it on a steady 7.
Yeah, I'd love to do 7, but I don't know if I'll have time with the time allowed.
And then straight after that fence, you make a turn past the in-gate to the treble. The treble, for me, very much looked like a power exercise, doesn't it? You've got 1 stride coming out to the C element, a maximum parallel coming out, so you've got to make sure you get that back rail. Yeah, no, really, you have to get in well and allow yourself to build momentum through the combination. I think if you get in too strongly and you're slowing down to the vertical, then it's going to be a long way to the back pole of C. So basically you've got to jump in perfectly?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And then straight after the treble, no chance to sort of take a breath because you've got a distance straight away down to an upright.
Yeah, it walks a slightly short 7, but I think with the effort they're going to have to put into jump C of the combination, I think that 7 will ride nicer. But it's a very tall vertical, and yeah, it's still everything is tough.
Well, I was about to say it feels fairly relentless because straight away you have a pretty intense turn back. It's the first turn back on the course, isn't it? As you turn back to the wall, and then that whole line, you've got a wall on a 4-stride distance to a parallel, straight away the water, and those distances seem to walk okay?
Yeah, hopefully the wall should slow them down a little bit in the air and make that 4 okay. The 6 is nice to the water, it'll allow you to get a bit of impulsion on at the end, and then it's a 7 or an 8 to the skinny oxer afterwards. I think probably 7, but we'll see how it rides.
And then finally, the end of the course, he hasn't let you take a breath, has he? Because a double of uprights on a fairly long distance.
Yeah, so you've a roll back to, after the water, you have a roll back to the white vertical, and then you really need to get the next line correct to set up the whole last line. So a big oxer, floaty 5 to a double of verticals, which is a fraction short inside, and he's put a plank on A to make it even more difficult, and then a really balancing 7 to the last oxer, which is very, very big as well.
Well, David, we wish you all the luck. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see how it all unfolds.
No problem.
Oh, thanks to Frankie and to David there. That's really given us a good insight there of that course. There is no let up even right to the end, Sam. We want to talk now a little bit more about analysis. We want to talk about this 2 rounds. So technically no.
Well, I mean, it's not a jump off in name, but it's most likely a jump off in nature. And if it is going to feature the 2019 winners, as we have mentioned plenty and as we've heard from in this show, Steve Gerdat and Bernard de Cerisi. To have been in 16 jump-off rounds, it's a huge body of work, but to come out with 10 podiums, that's incredible. And I think actually the telling thing there is 9 clears, 10 podiums means that even if they had a rail in the second one, they're still quick. So they absolutely have the speed. Obviously, the number of wins way above anyone else in this class, over double. Only Pretty Woman for Willem Greve has had more than 1. And then, you know, names that we expect. Hans-Dieter Drey has won this class before. Marcus Enning has formed in this arena. Aaron Vale has formed in this arena from yesterday. But with Carissimo as well, 5 jump-off clears, has picked up a win. They'll have the wind in their sails as well. So if they can get into that round, those are the ones with the speed. Yannicka with Aurelie, who we've talked about already as being very high on clears. In a jump off, interesting looking at there. I know they've got 2 podiums there, but actually they were 3 seconds and 3.5 seconds behind the winner on those occasions. I really think that they need this to go back to more of a round 2, you know, 2 tough rounds of jumping. That's where we would see them thriving. But look, familiar names when we talk about Marcus Enning, Steve Gerdat and riders like that. Aaron Vale as well, they have the speed, but the flip side is, yeah, with the 2 rounds and with the way David has talked to Frankie through that course and how difficult it is, that might lead it away from, it would be a grueling first round, less than a 10% clear rate, but it would make round 2 so interesting as well. 2 clear rounds will probably win this.
Well, knowing all of that, then let's take a look at our win chances very quickly. We are getting down towards the pointy end of things and the sport not long ahead of us. The man at the top there, Marcus Enning and Coolio, are just narrowly above, well, not even narrowly above Martin Fuchs with Lord.
Yeah, like we've talked through loads of these. I think the clear standout is the number, guys. It's 8%. You know, it's easy for us to say that We've got a favourite there in Coolio and Marcus Enning and Fuchs and Gerdat right there. It looks obvious, but you add all of their win chances together and it still only comes to 20%, so 80% chance that we don't see any of those top three winning. For me, the one that I'm leaning towards here is Willem Greve. Jumps out to me because he's a two, he had a double. We saw them finish off the World Cup season, go over to the World Cup finals, and they've actually really chilled since then. They've been on the small tour. They were back out in grass at Aachen, but haven't jumped a 160 since those World Cup finals. They've had the grass under their feet. They look fresh. They know how to win. I think they could be the real interesting threat to those top three.
Well, there you have it all broken down for you ahead of this epic afternoon of sport. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget, you can enjoy it all for free on the Clip My Horse 24/7 channel. So jump across there now to enjoy it. Of course, you can all enjoy it too on your Clip My Horse TV subscription channel as well. We'll look forward to bringing you more throughout the course of the afternoon. But for now, though, we want to throw it over to our commentary team led by John Kyle.
Elegance is an attitude.
St. Gallen in Switzerland as we get set for the Longines Grand Prix, a €500,000 class run over 2 rounds of jumping. Meter 60 out there, set by Gerard Lechat. In the foreground of our shot is the double of verticals close to home with the plank over the A element, and a very, very interesting course set up here. 25% comeback, which will be 13. However, if we have in excess of 13 clear rounds, they all get to come back. But more often than not, it is fewer than that number, so we'll have some coming forward with faults. Just 7 days ago in Rome, for instance, we saw a very few clears make it through to the second round onto the same format there, and it was Wilma Hellström, by jumping one of the very rare second round clears, coming right up into the eventual top 5. One of the aspects of St. Gallen is this is a covered warm-up on sand. You come then